Out in front, Negrin. Panetta scores! And it's 10-9. What a comeback. Matt Panetta sending the Elmont fans delirious. Cuts back. Oh, look at him go to the 30. He may go.
He's gone, Barry.
What a run by Todd Jamison.
They're looking to the outlet. Here comes Bobby Gordon. 4 seconds. A near steal. And now it is stolen. It is outside. It's over. The ball game is over. The ball game is over. Southside is the Class B champ with a 51-50 win. And look at that.
The New York State Class B lacrosse semifinals feature 2 perennial powerhouses. Garden City clashing with Yorktown. Last year, Yorktown came to Long Island and handed Garden City its only loss. This year, the Trojans are undefeated again and looking for revenge. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Bob Rule, Manhasset assistant coach on my left, and Kerry Gluck on my right. Well, Kerry, last year, tremendous game. Yorktown defeated Garden City. Yorktown's lost only 1 game this year. Most of those kids are back. What can we expect from Yorktown today?
Well, we're looking at a Yorktown team, Barry, that is probably one of the most well-balanced high school lacrosse teams we're going to see. An attack that's scoring almost 200 points. A midfield that's got almost 200 points. It's going to be a tough road for the defense, I think, of Garden City. The difference could very well be at the second midfield if the depth of Garden City can take over against the Yorktown second midfield.
Well, you mentioned midfield, and perhaps today we're going to be treated to seeing 2 of the best. Eugene Kern for Garden City and Roy Colsey, 2-year high school All-American for Yorktown.
Absolutely one of the best All-American midfielders in New York State, I think, Barry. He's just an outstanding midfielder, huge, 6'1", 190, a bulldodger. He's able to take anybody on. He's big. He's going to be a tough man on the defense for Garden City.
And last year he scored 3 goals against the defense of Garden City. Often overlooked, Bob Rule, is the Garden City defense because they have such a potent offense.
Well, with 3 high school All-Americans, 2 midfielders, and an attackman, the defenses tend to be overlooked. But they've got a great one in Nick Lane, number 38, and today it's going to be a real test of them. You see a Yorktown team with 4 high school All-Americans today.
What do you like about Lane?
Lane is tall, rangy. He's been a 3-year starter. He's got a lot of experience. He's the heart and soul of their zone defense. He's the guy who's going to back up. He's the guy who's going to be real important to keep the defense close, especially if they go with the younger goalie today.
And he's a smart player. He'll be headed to Princeton. Attack midfield, these 2 teams are loaded. Should be a dandy game. And we'll be right back in just a moment. Back here at Hofstra Stadium, Carl Reuter on the field before the start of today's game. A few moments ago, Barry, Carrie, and Bob alluded to the fact of last year's tremendous game between Yorktown and Garden City. Let's go back and look at the final 10 seconds of the 1990 New York State Class B semifinals.
You see the clock there. Depth with time running down. Check. Garden City will run out of time here unless they can get a shot off, and it's over. For the second time in 4 years, Yorktown has ended the dream of an undefeated season for Garden City, beating him 7-6 here at Hofstra.
So if today's game is any indication of what they did last year, it should be a dandy. Remember, Garden City going for the 3rd straight game, starting a sophomore goalie, Billy Horn. We'll be back with the start of today's game following this timeout. Today's game is being brought to you by Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you. By Adelphi University, a commitment to intellect. By Genovese. You're looking good at Genovese. We'll take good care of you. And by the BOCES Tech Centers, the power to succeed. Barry Landers along with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule. Let's take a look at the starting lineup first for the visitors from Yorktown. Coming in with a record of 20-1. Outstanding attack led by Dave Marr. He's already scored 48 goals and has 76 assists. The midfield led by All-American Roy Colsey. And Usman Green is also a dandy. And the defense led by All-American Jason Foley. And the goaltender, well-tested, an All-American Rocco DeAndrea.
Rocco DeAndrea, he's got a tough name. He was an all-league football player, and he.
And we'll take a look at the Garden City starters right now. Midfield, the attack rather, led by Sean Miller and Andy Crofton, big scorers. Midfield led by All-American Eugene Kerr and Pat Marvin, playing well in the playoffs. And a defense that will certainly be tested, led by All-American Nick Lane. And their goalie, a youngster, sophomore Billy Horn.
Billy Horn, he played a game and a half this year, total really in tough situations. Today, its key is how well he plays.
Kerry, any keys early you see?
Well, I think early on, Barry, we got to look for face-offs. Right now, this is going to be one of the keys. Pat Marvin is going to be very important to the success of Garden City.
He wins the face-off against Matt Horowitz. Marvin moves in. Now Garden City will settle it down. They had no fast break opportunity against this very tenacious Yorktown defense. We'll set the player. Sean Miller, number 4. He was banged up, had a bad knee the other day, but practiced yesterday. Miller moving in on the defender. He's in. Good save by DeAndrea as he was able to beat the defender that time, get around him as he got around Jason Foley, the All-American defender.
Well, what Jason Foley did was, when he did do that dodge, Jason Foley pushed him outside the goal, so he never had a really good shot. That's what a good defenseman does. Foley never gave up on that play and pushed him behind the goal, so he didn't get a good shot.
Let's take a look at that again as we go right into live action play here, Barry, with Usman Green bringing it on down for Yorktown.
All right, Green working it on the wing. The pass in front and a quick stick score for Dave Marr. Well, we talked about the young goalie not having faced this kind of stick work before. Billy Horn, and Dave Marr gets his 49th goal of the year as Yorktown wasted no time as bringing it down was Usman Green, and they set it up beautifully for this finisher, Dave Marr.
Now watch, we'll see. Here's Usman Green. He's the man who starts it, Barry. He gets a good look out to the wing and finds Dave Marr cutting across the crease, and Marr is beating Lane. He had him by 2 yards there and had a nice shot opportunity against the young goalie.
Boy, that was a great shot. He shot over his shoulder. Good shot.
Marr, whose brother went to Johns Hopkins. Garden City controls the face-off here. We'll set their players. Eugene Kern, who has 67 goals, working in the midfield right now. That'll be a key matchup here as he works against number 43, one of the long poles, Brian Kuzma. And it's broken up in front. And we look at DeAndrea way out of the cage, checked out of his stick. He's up near midfield. This guy is very aggressive. As Nick Lane will try to pick it up for Garden City on the far side. Knocked out of his stick, goes out of bounds, and the ball goes over to Yorktown. The officials working the game, fine officials, are referee Chuck Peebs, umpire Skip Spencieri, field judge Ed Schreiber, and the chief bench operator and benchman Norm Wiener. Roy Colsey will put it in play. How about the, what are they setting up now, Kerry?
Well, right now, Garden City is playing very tight man-to-man. They're looking to shut off the very dangerous Roy Colsey by putting a man right in his face.
Dave Marr checked out of his stick, loose ball. Yorktown coming up with it for the moment. And that's an area that Doc Doherty was concerned about, those ground balls. They do pick it up right now with the long pole. Chris Casano coming up with that ground ball. And he'll wisely drop it off to Andy Crofton. Garden City trailing 1-0 here.
Barry, I think that's going to be also one of the keys to today's game, the control of those ground balls, which is very important to the possession.
That was something that Doc Doherty was not pleased with last year, his team's ground ball work. He felt that was one of the reasons why they lost. Marvin losing against the Czech, recovering. Marvin driving left. Young man going to Harvard to Pinnell. He had his stick checked as he got the shot off.
Yorktown's defense is extremely aggressive. I also noticed that Yorktown used a tight 2-2-2 offense. 2 men on the crease, and I think they want to really work the corners. They want to let Marr come around and score.
Here's a look at Doc Doherty. 2-2 against Jim Turnbull in matchups in the state semifinals. Working behind the cage, trying to come out. Sean Miller. Big matchup there against Foley. Foley all over him, but Miller makes a great second effort and score.
That was an excellent inside roll, I thought, by Miller. He felt the pressure by the defenseman on his back, and he turned to go right to the inside and took that roll. That's what the defenseman gave him, Bob.
I agree. What happened then, the defenseman Foley did not push him behind the goal, and he was able to come out of it. Come out of the roll.
Watch it again on the replay. Now here's the defenseman leaning on Miller, and as he sees Miller leaning to the outside, there's the roll, and Miller takes him out of the cage. He has him beat, and he puts it to the far pipe. That was an excellent shot. Well done, I thought, by Miller.
His 46th goal of the year and 8th in the playoffs. Illegal procedure call on the face-off against Pat Marvin, so Yorktown will get the ball. And this game is tied at 1-1. Yorktown jumping off to the early 1-0 lead on the goal by Dave Marr and Sean Miller answering moments ago. So here's Roy Colsey with 76 goals, putting it in play. He'll work in the midfield with Anthony DeAndrea, 44, and Usman Green, 38. On the attack, 13 Dave Marr, 15 Bob Cavavit, and 17 Paul Smith. Colsey inverting, comes around. Good check that time. Nick Lane was there as it trickled out of his stick. And downfield, Garden City on the fast break opportunity with the long pole, Brian Mulrooney. He moves right in. Mulrooney bounces one wide, but they hope to have a backer, and they do, as hustling down behind the cage was Kevin Crowley.
I thought Pat Murphy did a great job on Colsey then. That's going to be one of the key matchups. Pat Murphy's a sophomore, but he plays like a senior. He's very intelligent, and for Doc Doherty, he's the key man on their ride. He's the backer on their ride, so he's a good, smart ball player, and that was excellent defense.
And I also would add to that, Bob, I thought Billy Horn gave an excellent outlet pass to Mulrooney to lead that break.
Yep.
Jim Turnbull, his 18th year, and what a job he's done. He's won a couple of New York State championships. This is Crofton behind as he worked against Henry Wheatake, number 30, the defender. Kevin Kuzma now trying to pick up the Garden City player as he has trouble raking at that ball, falling down. The second midfield on, Lou Galley, along with Donnie McDonough and Dave Harding. So Yorktown with possession right now as they bring it across. Brian Kuzma brought it across to the offensive end, and he'll work it now on the wing. Yorktown in a 1-1 game gets it in the hands of Roy Colsey, a wrestler, a football player, and a tremendous athlete going to Syracuse, where he'll join last year's teammate Dom Finn, who had a fine year for Syracuse this year. Colsey moving in. Oh, wow, that one blasted.
That was a piper, I think.
And as it's raked on the ground, Crofton trying to come up with it. Number 5, he falls to the turf. Green checked out of his stick. Still in bounds. Good play that time by Drew Harding, or rather Dave Harding that time. However, it's finally picked up by Yorktown. They'll retain possession as Jason Foley. Outlets to DeAndrea. And they'll bring it across. Now Colsey. Double team. Somebody's open. Look on the crease. And a good fake by Dave Marr as he drew Billy Horn out. Experienced goal scorer there as they gambled, doubled up on Colsey, and they found the open man.
Well, I thought Marr gave an excellent fake. He drew Billy Horn right off his line and then gave him a low shot. I thought he did an excellent job. There's Colsey. He finds the open man right on the crease, and even with the double fake, the pump, he took Billy Horn off and distracted him enough to put the ball by.
You know, I noticed, Kerry, that Yorktown's not really looking to back up. They're going to play the guy 101, and they're going to win or lose on the 101, and Garden City's too anxious to back up. They doubled too quickly than I thought.
Yorktown's Pat Elstrom coming up with the ball. Paul Elstrom, number 35, off on the wing play. And they throw it back. It'll be played by the goalie, Rocco DeAndrea, who'll be going to Rutgers. He has a lot of experience in big games. He played against Garden City last year and beat him 7-6. In that game, you'll recall, Yorktown led 6-4 at the half. Yorktown coming up with those ground balls, but Curran comes up with it now. Knocked out of his stick. No possession yet as they scramble Mulrooney after it. It'll bounce to Curran. Gene Curran, who likes to go left, takes the left-handed shot. DeAndrea got a piece of it. Crofton couldn't come up with it. DeAndrea very active out of the cage, Bob, here, and he's gambling a little bit, but very aggressive.
Aggressive. He's the leader. He's the leader of the defense. He's really taking charge right now. It's a good play by
According to Jimmy Turnbull, getting better every day. Colsey checked out of his stick. They triple team. Fennell was there along with Curran. However, picked up by Wheatake. Garden City aggressive on the ride here. No penalty so far. And now we will have our first penalty right there on an over-aggressive ride.
I think Sean Miller is going to get caught for the slashing penalty on the goalie, Barry, with that aggressive ride.
These are not the kind of teams you want to give a man-up situation to, because they're so good in a 6-on-5. They move the ball so well. They've got great sticks and great scores.
And they're 400 points between the midfielders and the attack. I mean, that's tremendous. You don't want to give them any chance to score. You want to keep their big losses.
We'll take another look at the penalty.
And watch the aggressive ride. I think that was very important right there for Garden City. They did very well, I thought, on the ride. Here comes Miller right in there. That's where they call the slash. He went up over the head and caught goalie, Mr. DeAndrea, for the penalty.
It's funny, you always tell your attackman, just get in front of the man, square off, and force him to run the ball 100 yards up the field. And they get too anxious. They feel they've got to take the ball away from him.
These two clubs coming in with great records. Garden City 23-0, Yorktown 20-1. Yorktown's road to the top. Well, easy wins throughout the early rounds. Brewster, Ossining, and LaSalle. However, Kerry, they played a tough non-league schedule. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for Garden City, pretty easy road. Their toughest game at Hassett 9-4. They led 4-2 at halftime. But how about Yorktown playing such a tough schedule? Garden City been criticized not playing that tough non-league schedule like Yorktown does.
Well, you know, it can come back to haunt you, Barry. But on the other side of the coin, I think Yorktown has also had a little bit of an easy road going into this playoffs. They haven't played anyone really tough, I don't believe, until back to Lakeland, which is their last tough game about 3 weeks ago.
And both times they played two tough ball games. They played Lakeland, they fell behind 5-1 and eventually came back to win it. They also fell behind against Ward Melville 5-0 and lost by a goal. So now, that was one of the things Jimmy Turnbow was a little bit concerned about, his kids being slow out of the gate. But they've come out right now roaring. They've got 2 goals.
And they have a man-up situation coming up here. Their only loss, as you mentioned, to Ward Melville 9-8. They beat Corning East, the defending B champs, who, by the way, were eliminated from the playoffs just the other night by Nottingham of Syracuse. They beat Wilton of Connecticut and beat Lakeland, the A representative for that area. So let's see how they set up on the man-up here. They have been operating at 65% man-up this year. Tremendous success. They work it outside. DeAndrea 44 swings it on the wing. 17 is Smith. Behind, out in front to Usman Green. Just wide as he got checked.
Okay, one of the keys there, I think Garden City's a little anxious and they're spreading their zone out a little too much. Usman, if he had gotten that feed just a little sooner, he was wide open. I think Garden City's got to compress their zone a little more on defense.
Well, their man down is a rotating zone into the ball, Bob, and if you move that ball to the weak side, you're going to catch that zone, which is what Yorktown did right there, only they got the pass to the weak side. There it is again, and they got it a little bit sooner.
And you got it in the hands of the guy who's got a cannon. Roy Colsey makes it a 3-1 game. He had 5 against John Jay, 3 against Lakeland, 2 of their tougher opponents. You give Colsey the ball in that kind of spot, he's going to put it home.
He is tough. You know what worries me right now? I'm looking at the Garden City defense, and they're walking off the field. They're walking up to the line. There's not a lot of life there.
Well, it's not too many times that we've seen them be in this position. Now watch the feed from Marr to the weak side, and there's Colsey on the wing, takes a great shot, and he puts it to the stick side past young Mr. Horn.
Hard, accurate shooter who's improved his passing. If he had to improve on anything, that's an area he's improved. So they dominate the faceoff this time, Garden City, and they need a goal here, down 3-1 with 3:38 to go. So that aggressive penalty turned out to be very costly. And now Fennell will work it to Curran.
What I think Garden City has to do is they can't get out of their game. They can't be too anxious. Plenty of time left. They've got to play their game, which is pass, and look for the good shot, not panic.
Curran rifles one wide and high. Andy Crofton behind. Marr with 2 goals and an assist. Kavovit with 2 assists to lead the youngsters from Yorktown to this early 3-1 lead. Crofton will put it in play against Wheatake. Lost the ball as he fell. Let's see what the call will be. A 1-minute slashing penalty. And that will be a good break as Garden City will go man up.
And Mr. Wheatake, I think, is going to be, he'd be taking this penalty.
Well put, Mr. Gluck. And now Garden City, who also has an excellent man up. But Yorktown's man down. They've given up only 11 goals in 75 shorthanded chances. A big possession here for Garden City. A 1-minute man up, 3 minutes to go. First quarter, they trail 3-1. Crofton up top to Curran. They cut him off. On the wing, Fennell shot wide, but they had a backer.
I noticed too that Yorktown is using all 5 long sticks out there, and they're good stick handlers. They're big, rangy boys with a lot of experience.
Crofton to Curran. He rifles one, batted down in front. Picked up by the defender, Brian Kuzma. Only a sophomore, so he, like Murphy, a good one. Loose ball. Fennell will pick it up. Can he get it? Good check that time as he couldn't control it. Knocked down by Paul Elstrom, 35.
I thought that whistle might have been a little late, but they gave him a delayed whistle, and I think it's a good call. They called the push from behind on Fennell. He definitely got the push from behind, and I think the official did a nice job in holding off to see the possession before he made the call.
About 15 seconds left in the penalty. Miller, closely watched by Jason Foley up top. Curran on the wing. Crofton, good pass. Crowley shot knocked down by DeAndrea. Recovered by Marvin. Penalty should be over shortly. Marvin, good look. Crofton had the stick check. Teams are all even now. The ball recovered. We take back on trying to come up with it. However, Curran has it knocked away. Marvin after that loose ball. And again, Yorktown with possession as they come up with the ground ball. Now, Yorktown with possession here, leading by a score of 3-1. They move right in. This is Marr. He fires wide. Check from behind. We're going to get a penalty call coming up on Peter Murphy, I believe.
I think you're right, Barry. They're going to give him a push penalty from the rear. Give him 30 seconds, and that'll give, again, Yorktown another opportunity. Let's take a look at it once again on the replay. Here's Mr. Marr. He's going to the cage. He's got a stick in the right hand. Murphy's giving chase, and there's the push from the back, and they get the call for 30-second penalty.
Again, defense has got to learn to go where the ball's going to be, not where the man was. And he actually ran behind him a little bit. If he had gone right to the crease, he might have been able to prevent a penalty.
All right, they set it up. DeAndrea swings it on the wing. Kavovit now behind. To Colsey, likes that left wing. Tests the shot. The sophomore Billy Horn makes the save. Juggled a little bit there. Looked a little shaky on that one. Thrown away, however, on the clear. However, we have a free clear coming up for Garden City as the official spotted
I didn't think that last shot taken by Mr. Colsey was a well-taken shot. He didn't have a good percentage shot there. I think he should have looked to pull it out or give it off to one of the top men to restart their play rather than force it on the goal.
I think, too, Kerry, if you look, there was a great outlet pass by Horn again. He's a good goaltender.
Curran doubled up. He's got to get it in the box to release the penalty. Now he comes in. Delayed penalty coming up. In front, Crowley scores! So down a man, they come up with a big goal, set up by the All-American Eugene Curran, who against the double was able to bring it across, and then found Crowley on the crease, and Crowley makes it 3-2.
And I think they're also going to draw that penalty. I would think they're going to give the slash. I'm not quite sure, but I think they're going to draw the penalty. What do you think, Bob?
I think so. I think it was the slash. You know what the key to that? Here we go.
Here it is right over here on the replay. There it is right on the mask. So they'll stay now. They'll go from man down score and go man up, Barry. Very big turnover in play by Garden City.
It's almost a two-goal play. They score a goal by not giving one up, and they go up a man.
Brian Kuzma was the man who slashed him. Kevin Crowley coming up with a goal. Crowley's 39th of the year. Young man will be going to Villanova, one of the few seniors on the team. It's a senior attack. Sean Miller going to Virginia, Andy Crofton going to prep school, and Kevin Crowley going to Villanova. They've got a dandy freshman we saw the other day, Chris Massey. He has 24 goals, but won't get in unless somebody gets hurt.
Don't remind me, Barry. I'll probably see him for the next 3 years.
Bob Rule, assistant coach with Alan Lowe over at Manhasset.
We got a problem. Now, usually it's either Baumgart's or...
There was one in, and then they cut another one.
No. There's one before. They went from a 1-3-2. They started in 1-3-2. They came and they cut the far guy in to 1-4. So we've got to have 3 slide across on 4. But you got to know where back door is. Like when they ran that rotation, Nicky will caught low that 110. You got to know where Cosley is on the back door. Because Moore will look to him first. He'll look to the crease, but he'll look for Cosley on the back door. So if we're in 1-3-2 and you're opposite the ball, know where number 9 is. And you got to lock the crease. But hey, let us know they locked the crease. Now when they went into a 1-4, let everybody know they're in a 1-4. Let's not keep it a secret amongst ourselves.
Well, gentlemen, last year we remember almost to this exact date, Yorktown ruined Garden City's bid for an undefeated season. They've split 4 playoff games. 3 of those 4 games, Bob Rule, 1-goal games.
And I think also when you look at it, that Garden City again came in not playing a real tough playoff situation. They ran to Yorktown, and they were a little unnerved about with Yorktown sticks last year and couldn't quite recover. They made a run at the end, but fell 1 goal short. And DeAndrea had a very good game for them.
Marvin rakes that face-off and comes up with it. Over to Curran. They have done an excellent job on the face-off so far. Garden City as expected. Here's Marvin. He'll work in the midfield with Curran. Crowley Normally closer to the goal, an attackman now moving down on the crease as he cuts down. As they work a 1-3-2. Crofton on the wing, up top. Curran likes the left, tries to make a tough pass on the crease. Breaks weakly on the goal that time by Crowley. And will be an easy clear here for Yorktown. 28 seconds to go, first quarter. The Cornhuskers of Yorktown from Westchester leading 3-2. Wheatek splits the defenders, finds Colsey. Usman Green, a three-sport star. Marvin tracks it away, and we're going to get a flag.
Well, that call is going to go against Marvin. They're going to give a call on a hold, another 30-second penalty, and with 14 seconds to go, we're going to see the Cornhuskers in the man up, Barry.
Well, you got to be smart when you're going to take those penalties.
Barry, you echo my words. You got to be smart. First of all, when you take one hand off your stick, a referee's almost looking for a hold in an open field situation. And 14 seconds to go, really no reason for it.
Especially at the midfield, Bob.
Especially. They're 50 yards away from the goal. There's no chance for him to score.
And will they hold the ball? Apparently they will for possession for the second quarter. As the clock ticks down, you see the time remaining. Colsey just hanging on. Colsey with a goal, and Marr with two. Yorktown leads Garden City by a score of 3-2 as Miller and Crowley have scored for the Trojans. That's the story after one, as expected, a close one. We'll be right back. Along with Kerry Gluck and Bob Rule here at Hofstra as we get ready for the second quarter. Gentlemen, let me ask you from Garden City's point of view. First, Bob, what are they going to have to do to play better here in the second quarter?
Well, I think they've got to go to the transition game. I'll tell you, Yorktown looks great 6-on-6, and if they slow the ball down, it's playing to Yorktown's hands because they don't have to have their short sticks out there very much, and they'll be fresh to play offense.
And I would just add to that, Bob, the fact of the matter is we haven't seen Garden City's second midfield on the field at all yet. And the other night when they played, they had them on and kept the first midfield off, gave them good rest. And tonight they haven't done that as yet.
Yorktown rarely plays its second midfield, but it hasn't hurt them all year. Now they'll swing the ball back behind. This is Smith on the wing to Kamavit, just a sophomore. He's going to be a great one. He has 41 goals. Kamavit, number 15. Here's Colsey, who has scored one today against Murphy. Now picked up by Brian Mulrooney, 42. Takes Mulrooney behind the cage. Colsey, nice pass out, and that behind the head shot goes wide. The shot, and we have a penalty call coming up right here. And it'll be against Garden City as Rob Kamavit took that shot from behind the back.
You know, I think Garden City's too anxious to double up then. Again, they just missed a shot.
Again, we'll see the holding penalty. That's Ryan Mulrooney. He's working on the Yorktown player, Colsey. There's the double, as as Bob was just talking about, but you saw the hold by Ryan Mulrooney.
So it'll be the second man-up opportunity here for the youngsters from Yorktown. They'll work it behind. Marr, who has 2 goals and an assist. Take this 1 for 3. Oh, look on the crease, and Green had beaten the defender who had fallen down right there. Tough break for Richie Baumgratz, the backer. And Baumgratz falling gives Usman Green a gimme goal. That's a big one. It makes it a 4-2 game. 2 man-up goals and 4 chances.
Well, I was going to say that the AstroTurf has a definite nap to it. And sometimes you will fall down because you trip. You don't pick your feet up.
And here's another look at it. Now watch here. He's going to go back to the weak side. And that's exactly what Doc Doherty was talking about. Look at Osman Green wide open on the crease. And we were just talking about that in the huddle. Doc Doherty saying lock on the crease, but we got to get our guy down to that number 4 spot, which is that weak side wing.
Goal number 40 for Usman Green. And Garden City again falling behind by 2. They'll come up with the ball. Curran shovels it upfield to Marvin. This is what they need, as Bob pointed out. A fast break opportunity, but they don't see it, so they'll settle it down. Crofton will work it behind. Crofton working on Wheatek. Crofton falls. Now DeAndrea coming out to help double. Miller, who normally plays behind, now playing it on the wing as he works against Foley. It's a big matchup. Miller beat him earlier for a goal. Comes in, can't get the shot off, loses the ball to DeAndrea as he was doubled that time. And the Trojans not able to convert on that opportunity. So they bring it down. This is Jason Foley, the All-American.
Well, you really have to like the double, I thought, by Paul Elstrom from Yorktown on that last series down in the defensive zone.
Green with the delayed penalty goes to the cage. Great setup, and Marr misses the kind of shot that he's going to dream about tonight.
If they lose by a goal, he'll dream about it a lot.
And we're going to get Garden City is going to be penalized, Barry, offsides. A little bit of a mental error, I think, on the part of Sean Miller's. His aggressive play brought him over that midfield stripe. And again, we'll have the opportunity. Watch Osmond Green coming in. Great look to the weak side backdoor to find Dave Marr, and just missing the cage. I think he was just trying to power that shot a little bit too much. Maybe he could have taken something off it and been a little bit more accurate.
So they set it up here. 6-on-5. This is another man-up situation there. Fifth on the crease. Colsey, big save by Horn. Green raking away at it. Still loose, kicked out toward midfield. Oh, that was a big save by the sophomore goalie. And bodies go flying at midfield. It'll be an offside. We're going to have a push there. And the ball goes over to Garden City here.
One thing I like about Billy Horn, every goal he scored on them, good goals. He just made a terrific save. He hasn't let him get himself down. But when you're a sophomore, you have this kind of pressure, it's easy just kind of to give up, and he has not done that. So
Billy Horn playing for his brother James Horn. He took over in the playoff game against Manhasset when his older brother had a back injury, and he played the entire game against Manhasset, one half of the game against Rocky Point. Now Garden City makes a change. Now moving on the field is Miller. But the ball picked up, and again, Yorktown winning the battle of the ground balls. Good check that time by Fennell. Turns the ball over. Miller to Crofton on the far side. Down by 2 with 7:11 to go. Second quarter, Garden City with possession. Crofton against Wheatate. They have the second midfield in right now. A couple of guys. They've got McDonough, 25 in there, with Galley, 20. And Fennell remaining on 23 here. Here's McDonough, 6'2", moving in. Bounce shot. DeAndrea got a piece of it. Chased down by Miller.
I noticed that they're not moving the Yorktown defense at all, really. There's a lot of guys just standing around out there, and they're all going one-on-one. I think it's to Yorktown's advantage.
Miller gets in, and they thought it had gone in, but no, it hit the side of the net. We got a crease violation anyway. From one angle, the fans on this side thought it had gone in, but it did not go in, and the ball turned over on the crease violation to Yorktown.
Well, I think right now, Barry, the Yorktown defense is outplaying the Garden City attack and the offense. And Bob pointed out one of the reasons why is because Garden City is just standing around, except for the guy with the ball. He's going to the cage, and aside from that, most people are watching.
DeAndrea going to the cage. He had a man, Mark, cutting it, and he screened the goalie there. That one almost trickled in, Bob.
It's a good play. It was a deflection, actually a bad pass. And Horn's real quick. He got right down to the ball.
Usman Green at 6'2", a basketball star, picks it up. Whips it on the right wing here to Kavovit. Kavovit, the sophomore, checked out of his stick. Good play that time by Mulrooney as he doubled up.
That's the guy to double to. Double a sophomore. He's not as experienced. He'll have a tougher time finding the open man.
Speaking of sophomores, Murphy, a sophomore, gets it back behind the cage. And Nick Lane, the veteran, a senior all-county player. Aggressive riders, both teams, you see. The ride right here, and they finally find the open man on the near side. Garden City with possession. Billy Witcher brings it up. Quarterback on the football team, who's had 11 goals this year.
1-3-2.
He's like a seventh midi. Worked that second midfield unit here. Miller coming out on Foley, gets the shot off. DeAndrea, nice stop. Break that by Crowley as he flipped it over the net. And Garden City loses possession as the defender closest to the ball had left the field.
I was going to say, what was nice on that play was that he had the defenseman hung up in front of the goal, and he chose to go around to go left.
Here you'll see it again on the replay. Look at Sean Miller coming strong around the cage. He takes that inside again, Bob, and you'll notice that the goalie gets just a piece of it, DeAndrea. Now, there's a little flip by Kevin Crowley, and a little bit lower, I think he might have had the goalie beat.
Yeah, just over the top of the goal.
Your impressions of DeAndrea so far?
DeAndrea's a nice, aggressive guy. I love his Rocco DeAndrea. Sounds like a powerful guy, and I love his red shoes. You know who he is.
You sure do. 6'1", 190. Foley will have to chase the pass down.
It'll be a nice one for Tom Hayes.
Crowley on the ride, knocked it away. However, it goes out of bounds. And Foley will put it back in play, but we'll have a timeout taken right here with 4:39 to go. And a low-scoring game for these two high-scoring opponents. We'll be right back. behind. Nick Lane recovers. Nick Lane, the 6'3", 205-pound senior, will leg it up. Finds Curran. Curran's got a break opportunity perhaps here, but DeAndrea picks him up. Very good defensive job by DeAndrea. Cut him off. Curran, who's playing with damaged ribs. He got hurt in the Manhasset game, actually before the game, Kerry. Pulled ribs. He's bandaged up there, taped up around his right side. He's normally a lefty. He can shoot with either hand. Loose ball on the crease, and Husa comes up with a score. Looked like Steve Pinnell was Johnny on the spot. They're going to whip it off. No goal.
I think Miller's hurt, too.
I think that's Curran down, and I think that the check by Brian Kuzma overplayed him, and you know, we said before that he likes to shoot with his left. He had every opportunity to go to his right. He did not. And he took that shot with the left when he got it checked out of his stick. Watch again as Curran is going to go one-on-one against Kuzma. And watch here. He has the opportunity to roll to his right. He doesn't take it, and that's where he takes the injury. Now, I'm wondering also, with the last 2 or 3 shots that Curran has taken have all been high sidearm shots. I'm wondering if his injury is preventing him from taking the overhand shot and the bounce shot.
That's a real good point. It might be. Take him out, and there's a lot of offense taken out from the midfield. A lot of extra power.
No question about it. Against Manhasset, he turned feeder. Had only 3 assists, but he did score 3 against Rocky Point the other day.
Break down on it now. You got to break down on it. They can give it up.
Loose ball recovered now by Yorktown as they come across. Colsey picking it up.
Colsey with the ground ball.
Colsey just controlling beautifully. Usman Green, pass could not be handled. He had a man on the crease as it goes out of bounds.
I think that Garden City has got to go more with their body with Colsey. He's just going to run right through their sticks if they try to stick check him.
Well, we said early on in the pregame, Colsey is big and strong. He's a bull dodger, and he's just showing it. He's just running by people right now at 6'1" and 190.
A minute 24 to go, and boy, Garden City needs a goal here. They need a lift. They've been flat in this first half. Certainly here in the second quarter.
I think Jim Turnbull's smart too. He's using an attack zone right to force them to throw those long passes.
Crofton picks it up. He throws it towards the empty net, but getting back was a defender. The defender back there was Foley playing goal as DeAndrea was out of the cage.
Foley with the ground ball for Yorktown. The final minute.
Good check that time by Garden City as Pinnell picks it up. Under 50 seconds to go. Crofton moving right in, and that deflects wide. They had a man back there, and Sean Miller. It'll still be Garden City ball with 38 seconds to go.
I think that's what Garden City has to do. They've got to take the ball and push it right towards the goal, and don't let the Yorktown defense set up. They're too tough.
Crofton,
30 seconds.
as they set up a double pick on the crease. Curran, who's been shut out so far. Here's Marvin. Forced deep to his left. 18 seconds to go, as you see. Marvin checked out of his stick as he was doubled that time. And another fine defensive play. That was Elsham with the defensive play. Down, it'll go to Horn. Time for perhaps an opportunity here, but time will run out here. And the Trojans of Garden City, with time running out, will go to the halftime, down by a score of 5-2.
That last play that Garden City was typical. They did not. It was all one-on-one. He went to the goal one-on-one. It was doubled up, checked the stick, and they threw the ball downfield. They've got to play a team game.
And I'm very impressed right now with the Yorktown defense. I think they're playing tough, they're playing aggressive, and they're playing a very tight man-to-man. They're not giving anything off to the Garden City offense.
So that's the story. Carl Rudder returns with our halftime report in just a moment.
We're at halftime, New York State Class B semis in Yorktown on top of Garden City by the score of 5-2. And my halftime guest is Chuck Howard. class of 1951 at Garden City, now an executive producer with Trans World International after a glorious 26 years at ABC Sports, but a real lacrosse fan, Chuck.
I am. It's been a long time. I hate you to bring that year up, but as much as I liked it at Garden City, it's been a few years. Yeah, I am a big lacrosse fan, and most everybody who is a big lacrosse fan up in Westchester County has really looked forward to this game, because all we've heard all spring is Garden City, Garden City, Garden City. I know Manhasset has a nice team, and I know Lynbrook has a good team, but all year long the people who have kind of followed and been interested in Yorktown have looked forward to this game this afternoon.
Mixed emotions sitting up there watching, being that you're a graduate of Garden City, but you live in the Yorktown area?
Yeah, I think so, and I just saw some people that I know from Garden City, so yes, it is mixed emotions.
Was Garden City a hotbed for lacrosse even back when you were in high school?
I played high school baseball, and it was so frustrating that nobody would ever come to see us play. All the good-looking girls went to see the lacrosse guys play.
So you should have picked up and played lacrosse then?
I guess so.
And then, of course, you go down to Duke, and I guess it's a big-time sport down in the ACC.
Well, Duke was good then. When I was at Duke in the early to mid-'50s, I think they're going to come back now, but Duke had a good team, and it was a big sport there.
What is it about the game that fascinates you?
Well, I think it's a game you don't have to be 6'8", 300 pounds. It's a game that anybody, any size can play. Hand-eye coordination is important, and toughness is important, but it's a great blend of individual skills and teamwork, and I think it's also a great mix between offense and defense. Soccer and hockey are too low scoring. This is kind of a nice mix.
Do you believe that it is, as billed, the fastest game on 2 feet?
Well, it's a fast game. It's a good game. It's a great game for kids to play, because I think it teaches them a lot of things.
Well, Chuck Howard, welcome back to Long Island. I don't know who you're going to root for, who you want to win, but thanks very much for being a guest here on the Long Island Sports Network.
Thanks, Carl, for having me. Enjoyed
it. All right. Thank you very much. Chuck Howard has been my guest. Now, when we return, halftime numbers and highlights to follow with Carrie Gluck. So stay with us. Now joined by Carrie Gluck, and Carrie, complacency does not win state titles.
Absolutely, certainly not, Carl. And right now, that's the way Garden City is taking this game. I don't know if they're coming in too lightly, not thinking that Yorktown was going to give them a game, but they sure know by now that they do have a battle on their hands.
All right, and when you take a look at the halftime numbers, pretty much even across the board, except for the one key statistic, ground balls, and there's the complacency.
And certainly that's an indication of aggressive play, and certainly I think Yorktown is taking over that part of the game. That was a part of the game, too, that Dr. Artie even indicated to us before the game. This was going to be a key factor, the winner of the ground balls. And Yorktown is dominating in that area 2-1.
All right, and Dave Marr and Roy Colsey have been the story in the first half for Yorktown. Colsey making a tremendous move downfield, basically walking through every Garden City player.
Well, he really beat five defensive players as he ran the ball all the way down. And as everybody fell to pick up Colsey, they left Marr open right on the crease. And Marr really has a put away. He takes it nicely, though, puts it low past young Billy Horn for the Yorktown goal.
But the individual effort of Colsey actually setting it up.
Absolutely. Well, we indicated to the fans that he's big, he's strong, he's 6'1", and you're not going to stop him with stick checks, Carl. You're going to have to stop him with your body.
And how, if you're Dr. Artie, do you talk to your team at the end of this first half and say, hey, guys, he talked about, I made the report that we're playing as individuals. What does he say to his club right now?
Well, he says to them right now, we've got 20 minutes now to play like a championship team. We've worked and we've gotten this far. We're not going to stop playing, and we're not going to change our style of play with 20 minutes to go in this game. Let's start playing like the Garden City team. Let's pass the ball, move the ball. We have the sticks that can beat this defense, but we got to start using them.
All right, and the winner moves on to the state finals. Right now, that's Yorktown. They lead at halftime by the score of 5-2.
We begin the second half with Garden City facing an uphill battle. They trail by 3, 5-2. And Bob Rule, we heard what Carey had to say. If you're Doc Doherty, what do you think is going through Jim Turnbull's mind right now?
Jim Turnbull's got to say, we like it when Garden City plays 6-on-6 with us because we think we're better. They got to stop Garden City from having a transition game, and they've got to at least try to negate them on the face-off so they don't get the fast break.
Marvin 22 against Horowitz 27 in green on the face-off. Garden City won 6 of the 8 in the first half, trying to come up with this ball on the ground. Hustling play by Horowitz, and we may get a penalty here, or at least a procedure call. It's going to go against the youngsters from Garden City.
Sean Miller came out of the box before the possession was called, and that would be the illegal procedure call, Barry.
Garden City's so anxious. They're not playing right now like a real experienced ball club. They're anxious to do something.
And they have more experience than this Yorktown team. Here's Colsey, who had that big goal. That goal you saw in the highlights. Working behind as he takes his man behind.
Notice Yorktown has no crease man, so it takes you out of the zone, so they can go, Colsey can go one-on-one.
He gets by Murphy, shoots up high, and he beats Horn. An All-American play, so the sophomore got burned. Peter Murphy got taken to school there by the All-American Roy Colsey.
Not only that, but I think we saw Roy Colsey go to the goal. He was taking Murphy one-on-one. The rest of the Yorktown players were all lining up high, taking away any backup from Murphy, so they were clearing out for Colsey to go one-on-one. Here we'll see it. Now you'll see there's no backup. Murphy is clearly on his own against Colsey, and the All-American is going to take the sophomore, as he did right there with that nice inside roll, and he took an excellent shot high to the goalie's off-stick side.
So Colsey, who had 3 goals in last year's 7-6 victory for Yorktown, has 2 today. Marvin and Harwitz again on the face-off. Good job by Harwitz to tie up the play, and they come up with it, Yorktown. Elstrom on the wing picks it up, number 35. Val Elstrom moving down with the long pole. So right now you'd have to say that Yorktown in command. Here's Marr trying to get away from the defender, Nick Lane. And Morrow had a very good first half. He had 2 goals and an assist. We'll slow it down here. We'll identify the players again. 44 is Anthony DeAndrea, playing in the midfield with Usman Green, number 38, and Roy Colsey, number 9. DeAndrea sweeps right. On the crease, good check from behind. As the pass came to Paul Smith, he was checked, and it's picked up by Nick Lane. A grand aggressive ride this time by Paul Smith. And up the sideline, falling down, Marvin just was able to stay in bounds, but he threw it right into the stick of DeAndrea. Kern will pick it up. Garden City needs something here badly. Kern with 1 minute and 45 seconds gone in the third quarter, and Garden City down by 4.
The Garden City's got the short stick middies playing them on defense right now. They should really do something. Get into the middies and let them dodge. Now's the time to dodge.
They haven't really gotten into the hands of the middies that much. Miller working on Foley. Foley knocked it away. Loose ball now coming over Wietek to try to double up along with Colsey there. Ball on the far side. And it'll still be Garden City ball.
You know what I noticed then? There were 3 Yorktown guys on the ball and only 1 Garden City on the ball. That's not good for Garden City. You always tell your men, swarm the ball. And Yorktown swarmed it, Garden City didn't.
Kerry, Yorktown has scored in the opening minute of all 3 quarters. What does that tell you about?
Well, it tells me that they're coming out smoking and they're coming out ready to play. And I think that's the key right now.
Well, we mentioned that Garden City didn't appear ready to play, at least emotionally. And they're down by 4, but a lot of time left. They trailed last year's game 6-4 at halftime. Now they're down 6-2 as Kern work against the long pole. Checked away that time.
Now there's Yorktown swarming again. You had 3 men around the ball taking Gene Curran on.
And the loose ball recovered, however, for the moment by Garden City. Can they get possession here? Nope. Yorktown coming up with it. Brian Kuzma, the sophomore. They've got a wide open man right here, and making no mistake is Paul Smith. 7-2, Yorktown leading Garden City. Paul Smith unassisted with his 36th goal of the year. The senior will be going either to Corning Community College or Essex Community with a gimme goal right there off the turnover.
Well, there really aren't going to be too many players on the attack. They're going to miss this. He's just one-on-one with Horn. The loose ball was the key, Barry. They didn't come up with that ground ball on 2 occasions, 3 occasions, and Yorktown, the Cornhuskers, coming up with it, finding the open man, and he has an easy one-on-one. You can't give those kind of opportunities to Yorktown.
And again, I think it almost started way back when Miller went one-on-one behind the goal and didn't give the ball up to the midfielders, and eventually the ball checked out of his stick. And even though Garden City got the ball back, it was 3 Yorktown players swarming the ball even as it went out of bounds.
Well, back in 1987, Garden City was undefeated until they came to the semifinal game. They were defending their state championship in '86. Yorktown knocked them off, snapped a 41-game streak. Last year, Garden City was undefeated coming into this game. Yorktown beat them again. And it appears that that same scenario is developing here, but a lot of time left. Garden City down by 5 with 6:50 to go. They have possession here in the third quarter.
Dave Harding, number 26,
Crofton against Wheatate behind the cage. Crofton trying to make the pass in front. Crowley's shot partially checked, and it trickles easily to DeAndrea.
Marco DeAndrea, save.
And he finds the open man. Brian Kuzma, the sophomore, brings it across, number 43. Here's Colsey against Nick Lane. Earlier they had Murphy playing him, so they've switched off right here. That's Brian Hay defending behind the cage. Trying to stop Dave Marr. Nice pass on the crease. DeAndrea right there, and a good save by Horn.
Very good save. Great reaction by Billy Horn off the crease shot.
Just a sophomore, Billy Horn. I feel he's got outstanding potential. We got a flag on the play, Gary, and let's see what we'll have.
Now we got a slashing call. That's going to go against, again, Garden City. They're going to be man down again. Barry, again, a mistake to put themselves in that man down situation.
Even on that shot, too, that was taken on the crease that Billy made such a good save on, the Garden City defenseman never checked his stick.
And,
the slash.
And here comes the penalty. We're going to take a look at it. Right over here, we just saw it coming off on your side, on the center of your screen, was the slash call.
Defensemen have to learn to check across the hands, not down. That's a good example of why you should always do it that way.
Yorktown has done well man up today. 2 of their 7 goals. Man up. Here's DeAndrea. Swings it on the wing. Marr out to Colsey. Colsey gets in and scores. Great shot by Colsey as he beat him far side, off stick side. And it's an 8-2 game as Roy Colsey comes up with his 3rd goal of the game. And it's becoming a nightmare for the Garden City Trojans.
And really what happened there, again, has been happening all game while they've been man down. Garden City's giving off that back door, that backside pass. And Colsey this time, as he gets it, you're going to see he's going to get a great pass. But watch, he's going to face dodge 2 men. He's going to first take on 33. That's Brian Hay. There's the first dodge. And watch Rich Baumgratz come in the picture, and he face dodges him and takes the shot. So he beat 2 defensemen on the man down.
And that was the first mistake I saw Billy Horn make. Billy really gave him that far corner. Really, he should have given him more on his stick side where he's stronger.
So Garden City down by 6 in a shocker here. The only loss suffered by Yorktown this year, 9-8 toward Melville.
It's interesting. I was looking at the Garden City fans. They're no different now than they were at the beginning of the game. There's no emotion there at all.
Right now, Lou Galley will put it in place. He goes with the second midfield here. Galley, 20, Harding, 26, and McDonough, 25. Hoping that they can generate something here. Andy Crofton working against Henry Wheatate. Yorktown defense positionally has been outstanding in this game. Crofton rolling left. Nothing there. Down to Miller. Played by Foley. Miller doubled up that time. Knocked away. And it's recovered by Yorktown. You got to like the way Yorktown's playing defense, Bob, as a defensive coach.
Do I like it? I love it. I don't like it. I love it. They're terrific.
And that was a great job by Jason Foley on Miller.
Colsey on the fast break. Look at that pass, but it was behind Mars. He tried to get a little too cutesy there.
Sure that's not Gary Gate out there?
And Nick Lane will look to get it upfield. Too high for Lou Galley. Colsey with 3 goals and an assist. Marr with 3 goals and 3 assists. So the All-Americans have played like All-Americans today. And Colsey with his team leading by 6. 4:05 to go. We'll slow it up. Taking Nick Lane to the right. Misses the net, but Marr was closest to the ball as it left the field. Are they numb over there? It appears that the fans,
I think they may be in shock, if you really must know, Barry. I think they're in shock. Their team has never been down, much less by 6 goals midway through the 3rd period.
Now, Doc Doherty, who grew up in Yonkers, attended Yonkers High School, same high school that Joe Cuso, by the way, attended. On the verge of being beaten by another Westchester team here as Marr comes in. Good stop that time. That was not the goalie. The defenseman Brian Hay made the save there as he was backing up. Nick Lane will pick it up. And finally, they'll get it to the open man, Brian Mulrooney. Mulrooney with the long pole.
With the clear.
To Murphy. Now to Fennell. As the first midfield will come on, Curran joined now by number 22 coming into your picture, Pat Marvin. Garden City down by 6 with 3:08 to go in this third quarter. Can they stage a miracle comeback?
He's got a short stick on him right now. He should really go in if he can.
Curran going right, left, and missing the shot. It was knocked down. Green shirts swarming all over those loose balls. Usman Green trying to come up with it, and he does. He slips to the turf. Fennell can't come up with it. And back it'll go to Marvin. So possession retained here by Garden City.
He held the ball too long, too. If he had given it to Miller and let him, he could have come down maybe to 2-1 on that side. They're too deliberate on their offense.
Too much one-on-one here. Everybody seems to be trying to do it. Marvin on a crank shot. Again, high and wide. Crofton will inbound, but now the long poles have a chance to come on as Elfstrom comes on in the long pole midfield with Matt Dwan and Kevin Kuzma.
Not a good choice of shots then here. There was no screen, and he took that sidearm shot that takes a long time to wind up. The goalie would have plenty of time to make the save anyways.
You know, Bob and Barry, I was just going to say,
as Eugene Curran scores off the feed from Andy Crofton.
Absolutely. What I was just going to say is there's no movement up top by the midfielders. They're setting up top to take the outside shots, and none of them are making cuts to the cage until Mr. Curran finally decided to go to the cage.
That was what they have to do, and they've got to do that to get back in this ball game.
Curran from Crofton, his 68th goal of the year, 11th in the playoffs.
Now here we finally got a move. Look at Gene Curran on the right of your screen. Takes a nice cut to the cage, and that's the kind of play we've got to get from the Garden City Trojans.
And he took that right-handed, something we haven't been seeing him do too much today. Remember, the battered ribs are on the right side. Now let's see if that'll give Garden City some life here. 2:14 to go, but they don't come up with a face-off cleanly, but they will come it up on the wing. So they do have it here. Fennell getting the crowd up after that goal. Back to Curran. They'd love to cut it to 4 here, at least going into the final quarter. Curran working against Elfstrom. Elfstrom backing off. Number 35 in green.
It's interesting. Yorktown is cutting off the short with the short stick.
Miller tried to get cutesy there, and missing that one was Curran. He too tried to get cute with that shot, and they lost possession.
Yorktown did a smart thing out there. What they did was the short stick mini who's ever out there, he cuts his man off from the ball, and the other two long stick minis play.
Well, there we saw the opportunity again on the replay as the Garden City player goes down as he gives chase, and the shot being turned over to Yorktown.
Well, Curran indeed was falling down. Looked like he was trying to make the fancy play, but it was a heady play just to get control of it. Colsey will bring it up. Again, beats a couple of the riders.
Colsey the clear.
It's so frustrating because you tell a rider, just get in front of the man. Don't let him dodge you.
Colsey doubled up, splits that double, comes right in, and we're going to get a Ward here. Nope.
Chesting the ball.
Chesting
the ball. That's something you don't see often called.
I've heard thumbing the ball, but it's a while. That was Jimmy Brown's famous play when he did it.
All right, explain what they mean by that as if we can pick it up here.
When you hold the ball to your body and the man can't check the stick, if you look really closely, he'll hold the ball so close to his chest that they can't check him. Right there. When he turns.
Good camera work by Larry Roth and his crew to spot it.
That's what Jimmy Brown was famous for when he played lacrosse.
Oh, how could you get it away from him? One of Manhasset's best.
And Billy Horn way out of the cage out here. Good job by Billy Horn in the clear.
However, we have a flag and we'll have an offside. And it appears to be against Yorktown. That'll give a man-up situation for Garden City. That's a break.
Well, I think when Billy Horn brought the ball over, the attacker went right with them, and they got caught with the man short on the onside.
This is what Garden City has to do. They've got to make movement here.
Create mistakes, force mistakes.
Create mistakes, and they're not doing it. Well, they haven't done it for 3 periods.
Well, this is a big man-up situation. 1:13 to go. And now let's see what they can do to set it up here. 30 seconds only. 1:08 to go in the quarter. Psychologically, this would give them a big lift if they could score here. Fennell to Curran. Crofton up top.
Fennell rifles it wide. Clock stops with 55 seconds to go.
They're running a 2-3-1 offense, and when you run a 2-3-1, the attackmen behind have got to pressure those corner defensemen, and they're not doing it right now.
Miller up top. Fennell given room. Curran. Nothing there. Time running out on the penalty. All even right now. Back up to Fennell. He takes the shot. Hits the pipe, and it goes in. A big goal for Steve Fennell. And Garden City is back within 4.
That was an excellent shot by Fennell. I'm not so sure it hit the pipe. I think it might have even hit DeAndrea's stick. I'm not quite sure.
I think it might have hit the pipe and hit DeAndrea in the back and put the ball in. Those are the most painful ones if you're a goalie. You got a bruise in your back and they score a goal on you.
You don't know which is worse, the bruise to the pride or the bruise in the goal. But let's take a look at it. And again, here you'll see Fennell. He's going to wind up, and the check almost comes from Usman Green. And there's the pipe. You're right. It hits the pipe, hits the goalie, DeAndrea in the back, and then goes in. But you know what, Bob? I have noticed that every shot that Garden City has taken has been a high, hard shot. They have not taken any bounce shots.
Marvin wins the faceoff, moves in on the wing. Oh, pass could not be handled by Miller. And that fast break opportunity with a great opportunity to make it 8-5 goes astray.
I've got to think that perhaps Garden City thinks that they might be able to take Rocco DeAndrea high.
Well, they're going high. DeAndrea is a pretty big boy at 6'1", so he covers the net. Very athletic goaltender. And that was a missed opportunity there. Too bad on that pass for Garden City.
Well, but that's what Garden City's got to do. There's the perfect example of the real Garden City game, which is the real transition game, and take it down, get to the point man, make their zone defense move, and score a goal.
That's what they did so effectively against your Manhasset team.
Don't remind me, Barry, yes.
Marvin winning those faceoffs. Green losing the ball, so suddenly Garden City has come alive here. 15 seconds left. However, they lose possession on the far side. Still in bounds now, goes out of bounds. It'll be Yorktown ball. Loose ball push over there. Procedure penalty.
You know, I noticed then, too, there's a Yorktown attack which is camped right in front of the goal with no one there, no one in the hole.
They'll open it up one-on-one for Colsey. Checked by Fennell, or by Lane. Now moves in and shoots, and he scores. Roy Colsey. Oh, what a big goal that is when you match that with the one that Garden City didn't get off the fast break, and it's back to a 5-goal margin.
And again, the defense from Garden City getting beat one-on-one is the goal by Colsey really is going to hurt with 3 seconds. And let's watch Colsey. He's going to take on, that's number 33, Brian Hay. And here comes into your picture, 42, Ryan Mulrooney. He's going to spin right there, and he's going to take the shot lefty. And look at Horn. He goes down to the off-stick side.
It was a good shot, but Billy Horn didn't step to the ball. You've got to step to the ball if you're goaltender. The other thing is the second man in on a slide should always go with his body, so that can't happen. He didn't do it.
And off the face-off, the third quarter comes to an end. Roy Colsey's 4th goal of the game has given Yorktown a 5-goal lead again. We'll be right back with 4th quarter action of this Class B showdown in just a moment.
And here you see number 9, Roy Colsey, the All-American for 2 years, heading up to Syracuse. Roy Simmons, I'm sure, is very pleased with this young man coming in with 80 goals and 26 assists, Barry, for a midfielder.
Well, he is something else. 80 goals on the year for a midfielder. He's broken all the records at Yorktown. They've had great players, of course, over the years. And he's going to be joining Mr. Finn, who was quite a player. Garden City remembers him from last year's game. Tom Finn. So Garden City now down by 5. That could be a crushing goal by Colsey. Let's see what they come up with here in the final 10 minutes. They're going to need goals and goals fast. Curran, stick checked right out of his hand that time by number 43, and a fine play by Brian Kuzma. But it's recovered by Garden City. Marvin moves in. High again they go, and he missed the cage. However, they did have a backer.
I don't quite understand why they're shooting high all the time, because there's no rebound then. At least when you shoot low, you get a chance for a rebound or a screen or a funny bounce.
Garden City, Carey, has played on this field 4 times. Yorktown, this is the first time this year. They only played on AstroTurf once this year.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm really surprised that DeAndrea has not really had to react to balls off the turf. And I'm sure it's going to take him a moment to adjust to that skip.
DeAndrea battling for possession outside the cage. And we're going to have a delay there, I think.
Well, the ball's going to be turned over to Garden City, but that's a real good play by DeAndre. He came out, he took the push. Right. He said, I'd rather take the push, get the settled situation off to the side, rather than have someone come up with the loose ball right on the crease.
And we talked earlier about the two goalies, a senior with tested experience in big games against a sophomore who's had very limited time as Curran moves in and scores a goal to make it now 9-5.
And they almost might have called a penalty on that. I thought he kind of nicked his helmet coming around. But a good goal. That's what Garden City has to do. Drive to the goal.
And I think DeAndrea might have been screened on that by his defenseman as Curran swept around to his left to take that shot.
Crowley was trying to cut. Nobody moving. Tough pass, Fennell. Nothing there. Up top. Boy, they'd love to have Curran's stick in there now. Knocked down in front. Crofton couldn't locate it. Look at the hustling play there by the defender, Henry Wheattake. 2-3 white shirts around him. He kept the ball alive on the ground. Miller leveled over there by the goalie, DeAndrea. And loose ball push will be called against DeAndrea, so Garden City retaining possession.
I'm always curious, what is really from the rear anymore when they have a minute penalty? I'm curious. The one thing Garden City, they're in a 2-3-1, and their corner guys behind the goal, Crofton, are not attacking the goal from behind, so they don't really have, Yorktown doesn't have to really slide.
All that they're doing is looking back there to make the pass up top. That's all that the two men behind are really doing, Bob. And I think if they look to pressure the corners, they're going to force the crease opening, or they're going to have the man up top.
That's exactly true. They're not doing that. They're a little too mechanical on their extra men. I might go to a 1-4-1 and get a screen on the crease and get even Fennell, who's the big strong guy out front, and loft the ball over the goal and let him go one-on-one with the man up top.
Everybody off the ball's got to be ready to slide like Murph did. You can't let him hold on to it. You know, if we get one here, then we can pressure the ball a little bit more. So if we don't get one here and they get it down, it's 9-5. You're getting down at crunch time where you got to double the ball where you can. All right? And I don't have to go red dog yet. But we got to be thinking double. And everybody off the ball, hey, when you see the guy go, anticipate, if you're adjacent to the guy going, anticipate sliding to cover his man. Is that right? You got to go get the ball. That's the whole key thing. You can't let him sit on it. Come on. Here we go, Jay. Here we go.
Well, Doc telling them if they can get one here, they really are still in the ball game. But if they don't, they bring it down. They're going to have to look to start doubling the ball, red dogging, and look to slide to the adjacent man.
Did you notice there wasn't much emotion coming out of the huddle?
Absolutely.
They were like, all right, let's go. Not a lot of emotion there, and that's dangerous.
And I thought maybe Doc could have even gotten maybe a little bit more emotional, too. He was very, it's nice to see, the confidence there and the poise.
Right now, Garden City still with a man up, but not for that much longer. And they'll put the ball in play with exactly 7 minutes to go. Fennell. Miller. Crowley. Great pass and a big save by DeAndrea as he stopped Curran, who had cut down on the wing.
That was an excellent feed cross cage, and it just was a super save by DeAndrea. Certainly we're seeing an All-American goalie in Rocco DeAndrea. He's really doing an outstanding job.
Garden City gets the ball back, and here's Crowley. Now teams are all even at 6-on-6.
The one that I noticed in that shot, that was not a great shot by Carney. A good angle and everything, but he didn't take a hard shot. Again, I hate to refer to that injury, but I think that might make a difference.
Now Marvin will work one-on-one.
So they're in that 1-4-1 now.
Matt Dwan with that long stick. He's a former converted attackman, number 6. Very quick. Time becoming a factor here. 6:08 to go. Slipping down, Miller. On the crease and a score. Curran cutting down, comes up with the goal, and it's now a 9-6 game with 5:59 to go.
And an excellent feed by number 4, Sean Miller, to find Curran cutting. Now, you got to think that their 2 of their last goals have come off cuts from Curran from the midfield rather than just hard shots taken at the midfield.
I agree with you, Kerry. There it is.
And there it is on the replay. Now watch number 4, Sean Miller, behind the cage, looking, and he sees Curran cutting on the weak side, and an excellent move down and an excellent move by Curran to avoid the crease.
Well, that's what they got to do. They got to work their transition game, and if they do have to go 6-on-6, they got to go with their cutting offense.
Curran's 3rd goal brings his club within 3. Marvin comes up with it. Garden City with possession. Curran. Big save, DeAndrea on Miller. Loose ball. Crowley slammed to the turf. Look at that scramble there.
Good hits, though, I think. I didn't see
Clean
anything that was
hits.
illegal about it.
Absolutely. I think they're all legal hits.
And the shot by Galley wide. And Garden City had nobody backing there. They were all around the cage. And the ball goes back to Yorktown.
That's almost a mental error. That's not a bad idea to pick the ball up and throw in a scramble, but again, no one behind the goal to back up, and Yorktown's a little bit quicker getting back there, and they get possession. Possession right now is so important at Garden City.
Possession is 9/10 of the law right now, Bob.
And
right.
even though they won the face-off, unable to convert, and now they'll have to gamble a little bit, and they're going to double up here on the ride. Colsey, but we've seen what Colsey can do against 5 or 6 guys.
Well, Garden City going out to a 10-man ride now to try and exert a little bit more pressure.
And they'll find We Take over to DeAndrea. The brother, of course, of the goalie. And here's Colsey. Bump look at the balance of Colsey as he was hit by Peter Murphy. Kept his balance. Here's Green. Green, good pass and a quick stick shot missed from in close. Taken that time by Kavovit.
The only problem was Peter Murphy's all of 5'8", 145, and Colsey is over 6 foot, 6'1", and almost 200. That's why he was able to maintain that balance. But it was a good effort, I thought, by Peter Murphy, taking him on with the body,
right.
And that's what they've got to do.
That's what they have to do, right.
Can they take the ball away from this Yorktown defense? Oh, a gimme goal, and that's going to do it. Kavovit, fed by Marr, who has 7 points in the game, 3 goals, 4 assists. None better assist than that one as he found the sophomore all alone to the left of Billy Horn, and that makes it a 10-6 game.
You know, a couple times the far defenseman was relaxed a little bit, and the guy just cuts right behind him. That's what happened then. The ball was on the far side. He relaxed, and then cut behind him.
Here's another look at that last guy. Got that last goal. Now watch Dave Marr, and there's Kavovit sitting on the weak side, wide open, nice, easy opportunity, gimme for Rob Kavovit to put the Cornhuskers up by 4.
His second goal of the game, 4:49 to go, and time running out on Garden City.
And here you'll see the last Yorktown goal. That's number 13, Dave Marr, the All-American, possession of the ball right now, being very patient. Taking on his man, looking to go one-on-one. He's got his eyes up. And there's the quick roll to the cage, and they are on the weak side. Rob Kavovit, nice, easy opportunity.
You know what happened then, too? Dave Moore is such a canny attackman. He felt the defenseman's shoulder lean into him. Nick Lane leaned into him a little bit, and that's when he rolled. And he knew, because when he felt Nick Lane's forearm up in his shoulder, he knew that Nick Lane would not be able to get back on the weak side when he did that little roll dodge. A really heady play.
Hey, what do you think? This guy's only a junior.
Don't scare me. Don't scare me, Dad. Don't scare me.
And I also thought very heads-up play, too. It was a little change of pace. You notice how slow he was going, slow, and the defenseman gets into that rhythm, and then all of a sudden he turns it on, and he's got him beat by that half a step, and that's all the All-American needed.
And that's what great athletes do. They know when to turn it on.
Marvin comes up with it for Garden City. They need scoring, and quickly. But now looking for Marvin. Crowley can't come up with it. DeAndrea, so cool, has it. And now he stepped out of the crease and back in, I believe. Let's see what... No. Yeah, there's going to be a violation there.
Time violation, possession, Garden City.
Garden City will get it back.
Apparently, DeAndrea took more than the 4-second time allotted to the goalie there, Bob.
I'm not quite sure whether it's either time or he was out and in, but referee tapped his head. I think that meant... that he was out and in, but I'm not sure.
All right, Crofton will play it behind. Garden City down by 4, 4:25 to go. Looking for Curran, couldn't get it. He was checked as the pass goes back across midfield. Loose balls have been the domain of this Yorktown team as they come up with it once again, and Jim Turnbull will call timeout as they come up with it. Kevin Kuzma, the senior, on the long pole midfield unit. You know, for Jim Turnbull, coming home to Hempstead, where he went to Hempstead High School, has been a very pleasant task for him over the last several years. They've had great success on this field. Remember 84, they beat West Jenny to snap their 91-game winning streak, went on to win the state championship.
Don't forget, before that, they beat Manhasset 7-6. I remember that game all too well. It's like a home field for him almost. He comes in here and does real well.
40 yards. We can hold the ball back there, knock a minute or so off pond. We have something open the pond. Like the ball starting out here, right? All right, Roy, you take it, and you go behind it. All right? Let's just run more of the stack set. Don't worry about lining yet. And then again, the guys on the wings, we don't have to go to the cage now. As long as we get the time back there, fine. Then we dump it if we have to. Okay? All right, again, if we lose possession, we got to get back fast.
Keep moving. If you see a double coming, make sure you move to a place where the guys got the ball to see you.
I will.
Jim Turnbull, meeting with his team in the huddle, is going to give the ball to the man who he should give it to. He's giving it to Roy Colsey, and he's telling Mr. Colsey, take the ball and go behind the cage, and they're going to set up a stack on the crease. And, of course, telling them on the other side of the coin, if they lose it, they got to get back on defense and make sure they come up with those ground balls, because that's been the difference, I think, in today's game.
One of the keys, also the 3 man-up goals that they scored. Very critical, as we see from behind, Colsey operating from the defensive end of the field.
Colsey inverting here, as he was told by Turnbull.
Takes Nick Lane behind. Pass picked off by Billy Horn. Mulrooney will try to chase it down, try to rake it up with a long pole, and they turn it back over as Foley brings it down.
And there's the ground ball that Turnbull was saying, let's get back, let's go with the ground ball. But you know what bothered me about that last opportunity in that Yorktown had the man, Kavovit, standing on the crease wide open. If Horn had not intercepted that ball, Kavovit had an easy one.
Now we'll have a delayed penalty called against the youngsters from Garden City. A technical foul called against Garden City. Kerry, was it offside or?
Offside's called against, I believe it was Sean Miller, who'll be in the box in 30 seconds. It'll be a man down. And the one thing they don't want to do now is keep possession in Yorktown, especially for the man down situation. There's 30 seconds off the clock. They're down to 3 minutes now.
Even if they don't score.
If Yorktown is smart, they'll take the ball behind and work it for 29 seconds before they take a shot.
Well, their 2 All-Americans have played All-American games today. Dave Marr, 3 goals, 4 assists. And Roy Colsey, 4 goals and 1 assist. They have come up awfully big.
We were talking with Chuck Howard earlier, and he said Colsey plays great in playoffs, and he's showing it today.
Oh, no, so does Mr. Marr. He undressed the youngster over there to make it 11-5, 11-6 game, as they add icing to the cake right there. So Dave Marr with his 4th goal of the game, 52nd of the year, and this guy now with 8 points has 132 on the year, and he's only a junior.
Watch Dave Marr's stick control when he gets the ball. He comes around the cage, and watch his little head, his little roll dodge here, and watch his little pump. There go down low on the goalie, Billy Horn. Does a really nice job. Great stick control, Bob.
Well, the defense, too, they're over-anxious now, Garden City. They're trying to get the ball, and he overplayed him really to one side. He was able to dodge.
Peter Murphy was the guy that...
Yeah, Peter Murphy's young, though. He's got 2 more years, and he'll remember this game.
Well, 2 sophomores, Billy Horn and Peter Murphy, put in a tough situation in this game as it goes out of bounds. So those 4 man-up goals figuring very, very prominent in this game. You cannot give a team like Yorktown, who have the kind of sticks, those kind of chances, and not get hurt.
I think, too, Yorktown never had their short sticks on long enough on defense to really make a difference. They were always fresh. Their long sticks when they're just long enough, and that's really hurt Garden City today.
So it appears that for the 3rd time since 1987, Garden City's bid for an undefeated season will come to an end. 87 last year, 90, and again this year, 91. Unless they can pull off a huge miracle here, down by 5 with 2.5 minutes to go. Now Curran inverting, taking Kuzma, and as he falls to the turf, he misses. Andy Crofton trying to get there first, and he almost got beaten to the ball there as it went out of bounds.
You know, I really got to like that kind of aggressive hustle. I mean, here you are, your team's up by 5 goals, and they're not stopping Yorktown. That shot was taken, and that guy was 10 yards behind the Garden City player and really continued to hustle to the ball. That's really, I like that kind of play.
McDonough gets in, sweeping to his right and scores, but it could be a little too late there, as Donnie McDonough gets his 29th goal of the year, the junior. He'll be back next year for Doc Doherty, and that makes it a little closer, 11-7, but with 2:15 to go, they could be running out of time.
Well, McDonough, as we'll see right here in your screen now, Barry, he just sweeps to his right. Everyone else is cleared out, and there's no backup as McDonough goes strong to the cage, and he takes a nice shot right on the far pipe.
It was good. There's no question about it. Good shot. And McDonough, some of the juniors now, they're almost setting themselves up for next year. You know, McDonough says, I can go on these guys. This is what I can do, and they'll give him confidence next year.
No question about it. So Yorktown looking for another shot at a state championship. They lost last year after beating Garden City in that emotional game 7-6. They lost to Corning East.
Well, I think Corning East last year, the main advantage Corning East had was they had an excellent face-off man, and he really controlled the face-offs, and they control the ground balls. And again, it said last year Yorktown again fell behind by 4 or 5 goals and was never able to catch up. This year in their 2 big games, they've been down by 4 or 5 goals, and they won one and lost one, but this one they've exploded out of the gate and have never trailed.
Part of the crowd here at Hofstra Stadium. Barry Landers along with Bob Rule and Kerry Gluck, and hope you've enjoyed our coverage throughout the year as we wrap up our season of lacrosse and high school sports on the LISN. And our thanks to all our sponsors, Apple Bank for so many years, Adelphi University, Genovese joining us this year, Bosse's Tech Centers, and we'd like you to patronize our fine sponsors if you will. So with 2:15 to go, we'll have the face-off. Marvin. And Marvin trying to give Garden City a quick win on the face-off perhaps here as he gets set to go against Matt Horowitz.
I think Horowitz has done a real nice job of negating Garden City's transition game. He tied up Marvin enough so that the 2 wingmen could get in and fight it out for the ball.
Oh, good play by Horowitz to come up with that one. He's smaller than Marvin, and he just went underneath him. And here's Marr, 4 goals, 4 assists, checked out of his stick. A chance for Curran coming in. Good passing, and the shot missed as Matt Dwan got to Crofton just as he was shooting that ball, and he missed the cage.
Crofton made a key mistake that a lot of attackers make. Instead of coming to the ball when it was thrown to him, he waited for it, and he never had really a good angle on the cage. As soon as Miller caught the ball, Crofton should have been coming up towards him, catch the ball, then turn and shoot. It also prevents the defenseman from sliding across and checking your stick.
1:54 to go. A couple of missed opportunities by Garden City. Could have made this one a close game. Crofton had we take beaten, but the pass over the head of Marvin that time, over anxious.
I thought it was an excellent opportunity right now for Garden City to go to the cage, and instead they passed up the opportunity where they had been going one-on-one earlier. That opportunity was a one-on-one, and they could have gone to the cage and didn't.
And Yorktown will call timeout. They could smell the victory. 1:29 to go, leading by 4. How about the timeout right there, if you're Jim Turnbull? We want to just settle things down, fellas.
Yeah.
We've got this game. Let's not blow it. Let's use our heads. And really, at this point, it should be academic.
That's what they're doing. And he wants to get the right players on the field to finish off the game. He'll probably have Colsey out there, and he'll have the people who can really handle the ball. And they'll say, keep the ball behind the goal. And I used to say, when in doubt, throw it out. Just drop the ball if you're in trouble. Don't give up a cheap goal at the end, because they want to have momentum going to the next game also. You don't want to give up a couple of cheap goals at the end of the game and feel like somehow the victory's almost tainted then.
So for Yorktown, it'll be a sweet victory. Remember back in 85 and 86, they lost to Garden City when Garden City was dominating lacrosse. They were knocking off teams like Ward Melville. Then they went on to win the state championship course, Garden City in 86. And tables were turned in 87 when Yorktown won, and again last year in 90, and appears to be that way here in 91. But give credit, Jim Turnbull, not a deep club, but the people he's got out there in every position on defense, in midfield, and attack, he puts out 10 guys out there, starters, that are about as good as you're going to find anywhere.
And what he does, I call it half team will travel. Jim Turnbull will play anybody, anytime, anywhere. He goes to Connecticut, he goes upstate to play Cornish, he plays all the best schools, so his kids are really hardened to playing real good lacrosse.
Roy Colsey against Nick Lane. Doubled up by Mulrooney, but he still breaks away. Penalty will be coming up, I believe, here against Garden City. Did they drop a flag? Nope. I beg your pardon.
See, this is the only danger of keeping Roy Colsey. He's limping a little bit right now. You want to have him ready for the next game.
DeAndrea, the junior, the younger brother of the senior goalie. Mulrooney trying to check it away. 55 seconds to go. Colsey's got it. 4 white shirts around him. Wide open on the crease. Paul Smith gets another gimme goal. His 37th of the year, second of the game.
Yeah, there's where Billy Horn, too, a little inexperienced. He's got to come out and play that man because it's doubling the ball.
He's got to anticipate that ball. And again, you got to give credit to Yorktown. The loose ball that they came up with, again, which they've been controlling. Here's where you come up with that loose ball. Colsey now is going to see Smith as he's wide open as you've got 5 white jerseys around the ball. So now we've got to anticipate, says Billy Horn. I've got to come out a little bit. They're not going to take a shot from out there. So let me play the man now.
Exactly. He should have been out with a stick right under the man's face.
So this Garden City defense, which gave up an average of 2 goals a game, 46 goals coming in, has yielded 12 today to a terrific Yorktown Cornhusker club. Make no mistake about it. Yorktown, the better of the teams today. McDonough coming up with the ball. McDonough scored earlier in this quarter. We'll try another shot here. Blocked. And DeAndrea will take it. And interference. One of the players for Yorktown stepping in the crease. It'll give Garden City the ball.
That was Jason Foley, I think, that interfered with Andy Crofton.
You know how they compress. There were 6 guys from Yorktown standing right on the crease. And even though McDonough got the shot off, he hit a Yorktown guy before they ever got to the goal. Great defense.
So, Andy Crofton winding up his brilliant career will put it in play. He had 116 points coming into the game today. We'll get a couple of substitutions. Leaving the game is Donnie McDonough. He'll head off right now as Garden City makes some changes here. Here's Galley. Now the officials call an illegal procedure. And a change of possession here with 29 seconds to go. And as I said, Bob, from the very get-go, you could sense that this Yorktown team had come down here to play. They were poised. We had talked about the young goalie versus the senior. We talked about man-up situations becoming a factor. And a lot of these things, ground balls, and they all went Yorktown's way.
I think so. And we have to remember, too, last year the Rockland County team won the Empire States, and they were mostly Lakeland kids and Yorktown kids. They have real experience, and there's nobody they've been a better beat than Long Island.
Time becoming down to 10 seconds here, and they count them down. Paul Carcaterra, the younger brother of one of their stars in the past, goes behind. 1 second showing on the clock. And the Cornhuskers ready to explode.
The official, I think, is just going to run the clock and call it over here, Barry.
So that's it. The Yorktown Cornhuskers advance to the New York State Finals for the 2nd year in a row as they look to win the state championship for the 3rd time. They won it in '84 and won it in '89. Yorktown's Jim Turnbull has come back home and has won another big game down here at Hofstra. As they've beaten Garden City for the 3rd straight time in the playoffs. And there is Mr. Turnbull. And there's Doc Doherty. And he loses his only 59th game, and a tough one for Doc. We'll be back with our Apple Bank MVP, and we'll wrap things up in just a moment.
The New York State Class B final by way of Garden City, 12-7. Apple Bank outstanding player is Roy Colsey. And Roy, we were here last year at the same time. You beat Garden City. They were undefeated. What was the difference today? Were they a little bit complacent, in your opinion?
I think that they thought since they beat us last year we were going to come out a little bit flat. And what happened was they came out at the beginning. They were talking a lot, saying a lot of stuff. And you just don't do that to a good team. You just make them mad. We weren't saying anything because we know that's what happens. And last year we lost in the state final. We got beat pretty badly by Corning East, and we didn't want to do that again this year, so we came out fired up. And I hope that we can play whoever wins the next game, that we'll come out fired up just like that.
Well, I think a turning point in the game was the end of the 3rd quarter when it looked like they were making a rush, but you guys scored with 3 seconds left on the clock. That had to help.
Yeah, it did help. What happened was Coach let me take the ball as there's 11 seconds left, and they doubled, but they both went to the same side, so I got to roll back. And got a lucky shot.
You're limping a little bit. Is it a serious injury?
No, it's just my knees are kind of banged up from the turf.
From the turf in a long season, but you got one more game left?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, good luck in the state final. Congratulations on being the Apple Bank outstanding player, Roy Colsey.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's go over to Barry, Carrie, and Bob for that final word.
Thank you very much, Carl. And Carrie, no fluke. I mean, this Yorktown team had a mission, as we just heard Roy Colsey say. They were going to test the young goalie. They were going to win the battle in the ground balls. And in just every area they expected to dominate, they did.
And not only did they win the battles, they won the war. And that's the important thing. And I think the other point that was made is that, yes, they came out really sky high. And I don't think Garden City ever got into this game. They never got their offense rolling. They never played the aggressive defense that they've been so accustomed to.
Carrie, it's been a fun year working with you.
It's been great. as always, Barry, and enjoy your time in old London town, you know.
Heading off to London. All right, let's talk to you, sir. And Bob Rule, from a defensive standpoint, what a masterful job the Yorktown team did against a potent offense.
Well, I think the real key was that Yorktown was so good when they went 6-on-6, and Garden City never got into their transition game, which would allow them to move the ball around quickly. And when that happened, and Garden City was able to wasn't able to control the ball, Yorktown had the game in hand.
And an impressive victory for Yorktown as they head on for a shot at the state championship. Bob, fun working with you the last few ball games as well.
Have fun in London.
All right. That about just does it for Kerry Gluck, Bob Rule, all our crew, including Carl Reuter, Gary Rothschild, Rich Martinetti, and Larry Roth. This is Barry Landers saying so long. Today's game has been brought to you by Apple Bank for Savings. We're good for you. By Adelphi University, a commitment to intellect. By Genovese. You're looking good at Genovese. We'll take good care of you. And by the Bosse's Tech Centers, the power to succeed. Once again, this is Barry Landers saying, so long, everybody.